We're back at Advertising Week New York. This is day one. Today, joining me on the AW360 live stage is David Edelman, CMO of Edna. Welcome.
Great to meet you. Pleasure to be here.
Great to see you. So I love having a little pre-interview chat, and we were talking about some of the exchange, the marketing, and how it's going to change healthcare, or how you're trying to change healthcare. What's going on? How are you doing that?
Yep. So one of the most important things we've got to do if we're going to change the economics of healthcare in this country is help people understand the resources they have available, help them take better care of themselves. And that actually is a marketing challenge. If marketing is about influencing people, we need to be able to connect with people in a way that helps them understand what's out there. We've got to build trust, we've got to get their attention. And so as a healthcare insurer, we've got to change their perceptions of who we are. So traditionally, a company like Aetna, most people just thought of as, they pay my healthcare bills. Or maybe they don't sometimes, and I have issues with them and things like that. What we've got to do now is actually help people in their health journey, because the economics are such that it's a win-win. If you're healthy, everyone's better. It's in our best interest to help you be healthy. So we've really transformed the company into one that's creating a whole bunch of capabilities, ranging from community care nurses in local markets to help people who have acute problems, new digital tools, much better data that we can make available. And so from a marketing perspective, we've got to connect people with that. We've got to get them to trust us, change their perception, and so that's what we're trying to do. It's a big task.
What are some of the tools that you're using to get this message out there?
Well, one of the first things is we've actually repositioned the whole brand. So just basically from the ground up, we now have our new tagline, "You don't join us, we join you," has been the cornerstone of new advertising and a whole digital campaign nationally that has rolled out. The advertising's in 4 cities, digital nationally. So all of that is getting out messages about how we've helped members with their health care. So we're bringing out those stories, and everything that we're about from a brand are how we help members. So we're starting with the basics of that. Secondly, all of the communications that all of our members get, we have put them in a whole new brand format, got a lot of the jargon out, cleaned it up, and we're constantly, in any communications, helping people find, and we're mildly suggesting resources that they can take advantage of.
So one of the things that we talked about earlier had to do with people who visited the emergency room, because that was just their point. They knew that they could go into the emergency room, they couldn't get refused treatment. So this is education to say, here are your other options?
Yeah, for example, that's a good example. So we can actually see in our database who are the people who are making use of emergency room visits for things that really don't need an emergency room.
Right.
And it's a very unpleasant place to be if you don't have to be there, besides the
Very
cost
true.
involved.
Right.
So we're actually targeting those people through email or through direct mail to make them aware in their local community of alternatives that they have. So care centers that may exist that are walk-in clinics that they can use. If they don't have a primary care doctor chosen, we give them a list of ones that are available in their neighborhood. So it's very local and relevant, helping them understand that actually there are better options. And so it's for things like that. We're also helping them make sure people get flu shots, for example.
Yes.
And where can they get them in the local community? Make them aware that it's free. And so that's just the start, but based on what we see people having needs for. So if you're, for example, a diabetic, we can help connect you with dietitians in your local market who we would cover some of that and make sure you're actually getting the right kind of meals. We have partnerships with supermarkets where dietitians will walk you through the aisle to help you plan meals. Those are the kinds of things that we're doing. And the key is, from a marketing perspective, getting the tone right, getting the timing right, making it relevant so people will trust us and take advantage of it.
It almost seems like a no-brainer, or it seems obvious that it's worth spending more money to keep people healthier to lower the overall healthcare costs. How do you get that message across without offending people? Because you said you wanted to keep it relevant to them. I mean, instead of saying, I know you're a diabetic, you need to go get checked out, go do this. How do you do that without being forceful?
A lot of it has to do with tone, in the tone of the message. So what we might do, for example, is just simply say, we don't say you're a diabetic, we'll say take advantage of nutritionists in your local supermarket who can help you, and here's in your local market. A lot of it just has to do with the right kind of tone, because there is an issue of people's comfort with privacy and intrusion, and so we've got to work that through.
Sure.
And to be honest, we're starting, there's a lot of testing and learning we've got to do. We've been putting in marketing tech infrastructure so we can really test on a large scale, because there's hundreds of potential different types of messages, different cells, and we got to be able to manage that cost effectively. So we're getting the engine going. We're starting with certain kinds of conditions, but it's just where we have to go to make healthcare more effective.
This is probably a little bit of a scary question, but
okay.
As I'm thinking about this, because there's so much as far as privacy, people have so many concerns about privacy, especially when it comes to advertising and marketing, and it can be very scary when we're talking about healthcare. Are you using data to, instead of saying, I know this person is a diabetic, or I know this person has heart disease, are you using any kind of data to say these people may be likely to have this when you're targeting your ads?
Well, there are predictive data that can start giving us a hint from the kinds of claims and things that people are using the healthcare system for that could predict that.
Right.
And we first of all, none of this data ever goes outside.
Right.
Ever at all. But yes, we can use that to suggest content to people that they would look at. And again, it's not putting it in people's face, it's making them aware of content that they should be aware of.
Sure.
Or actions that they can take, tools. So for example, take advantage of the mobile app that can give you prompts and access to content that you might not have known before. So the answer is yes, we use that data, but that only just makes it more relevant.
Perfect. David Edelman, thank you for joining us on
Sure.
the AW360 stage.
My pleasure, thank you.
Absolutely. We'll be back for more at Advertising Week New York.